Okay, so again, I said tonality has more to offer than just a simple chord progression or some notes on the piano. You can actually use it as a controller. So you'll see here I set it up with my kicks, snares, hats, open hi-hat, toms, tambourine shakers, rim, and crash. Now each one of these, if I click the pencil, you'll see I started with C4 on the first one. So now we know that's how I set it up, right? Was the reason why you would use something like this, for instance, for me at least, with koala. Koala doesn't, koala has a velocity ability to change, but unless you have a controller that goes in that has the velocity built into it that you can randomize, which I'm going to show you right there, or if you don't want to do that, the three dots, remember you can start from the bottom and work and get that change in velocity. Tonality, you have to kind of, I mean, not tonality, koala, you have to draw it. And that's kind of frustrating. And I know the developer is going to work on that at some point. But for now, it's kind of nice to have um, labels too, because you don't really have, if you look in koala, you'll see you have sounds, but you don't really have labels for what is a kick. So basically, what I did was try to put them in order to some degree, but they're not really that much in order. So to make it easier for me, that's where tonality would come in, and I would use an actual grid. The cool thing about Koala is you can go down to your settings, go into MIDI, and you can literally MIDI map them starting with C1. Now you can do this two different ways. You can either program your MIDIs to start with C1, right? And just go down the triggers and use them as C1, which is actually pretty good. Or you can use their MIDI mapping, which is actually, to me, a little bit easier to do. So if you turn on use MIDI mapping and then click on MIDI map, you'll see things turn green. And you'll see here that everything's set to C1. When I had a Launchpad, which I was using, and they're really good if you get the Launchpad Pro, this is the best mapping because you can map all 64 of the pads. However, when using this program, you could do that. You could map all 64. I'm probably not going to use 64 pads, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to map them starting where they're at. But you can set that up however you want. You saw how to do it. To get rid of these, you'll have to click each one, go in and touch the pad, and then hit the X, right? I wish there was a way to clear them all at once. That would be nice. But unfortunately, that's not the case here. So for right now, we're just going to do this. So you'll see there just a dash. So if you go to the first one, if this is your kick, just touch it, it turns red, and then touch the kick. Now it's mapped to C3. Touch the next kick, touch that one. You'll see it's mapping it now. These are my snares. Snare 1, snare 2. My hats come next, so I'll go. I'm not going to fast forward this video. I just know what I'm doing, so I'm going to keep moving so that you can see it. Touch that one. Now my open just happens to be down here, so I know that's the open. These are my toms, so I'll go tom low, middle, and then my last one is right there, high. And then I have a tambourine, which I don't remember which one it's on, so if I get this wrong, apologies for that. I should have had them in a straight order, but unfortunately I didn't do that. I do believe this is the rim, so I'll put that there. I do believe this is the shaker, so I'll put that there. I believe this one over here should be the tambourine. I think that's the tambourine, and I think the crash is right here. And if I'm wrong, oh well, we'll just have to go back and fix it. But then you hit stop mapping. Now you'll notice you can use. That's actually the crash, so that was wrong. So I'll fix that by going back to settings, click MIDI map, and this is the crash. Okay, and then that means that one of these is probably the shaker, which I think would be, or the tambourine, I think is this one. That looks about right. We'll hit stop mapping and just test it. There it is. That's the shaker. That's the rim, perfect, which means that the crash is in the right spot. So now you don't have to go into Koala and play on those pads. And the higher up, so you have the velocity. So you could have a low hat where you're going, or a little softer hat. That's velocity. I love it. If you want them all to be a little bit louder, just pump this. This is your master velocity. Turn it up. Now, typically, if I'm making kicks, to be honest with you, I'm going to put the FAC transit on it, and I put a little punch on the kicks. That's minimal, just to give it a little beef, because I like my stuff to sound as natural as possible. But there you go. So now it's a little louder. So I might go, right? That's why I use 4 hats, just to give it some variation. So there you have it. This was all about getting that velocity variance in your sound, in your drums. I'm not going to record one. It works. But you can record in here if you want to do that and see the velocity changes. So that's it for this video. Try it out. Tonality is more than just a simple chord progression tool. It can be a controller for your drums. Mind you, you can do this on other ones too if you want to. And then I'll show you another time. Before I go, I'll show you one more thing that I do. I will show you on the next go round maybe how you can use it for Loopy. Loopy Pro is coming out. I'm actually in the process of beta testing it. So there are some things that aren't working right and some things that are working great. But I did make, I'm going to have to close this out to show you though. So let me remove this channel. We'll leave that there and we'll just add another one. By the way, you can have more than one open since we're on the process of showing you this. But yeah, I did make one for my loopy scenarios where I want to mute the tracks, but I don't want to have to go in loopy to do it, or I want to stop one track basically, right? And this works in other ways too, so you're not stuck. But you'll see I did it for like a whole track where this is basically just a kill switch. Turn off the kick, turn off the snare, whatever, so on and so forth, so that you can have some variance in track. If you had a launch pad, you would do it in the sessions mode, but in this particular case, I can just do it right here. So if you want to mix live, you got that as an option. So here's another scenario of using tonality to help with the mix, because one of the challenges is to go in and hit this mute button. I just muted my mic, you saw that. It's sometimes it's not on time, and then you can't do more than one. So you, at the same time at least, it's very hard to do it on screen. So with this, it changes the dynamics because I can hit 2 of these at once and drop them out a lot quicker. So anyway, just another scenario where you can use tonality as a controller, and so it becomes more valuable than just putting down some chords. And that's where it's at to me. So anyway, I'll maybe use it in a scenario or an actual case another time. I just wanted to show you that you can do other stuff with it. All right, until the next one, I'm out.